Hey everybody, I am Pastor Tony Roberts of the Victory Worship Center Church located in Tucker, Georgia. I want to thank you for joining us today. I believe that what you're about to experience is going to not just change the rest of your day, but it's going to change the rest of your life. Here at Victory Worship Center, we are transcending from hurting to healing to victorious living. And I'm not sure what platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook or YouTube, but whatever it is, please like, follow, and subscribe. I also want you to be interactive with us. Send us your comments, send us your prayer requests. Here at Victory Worship Center, we absolutely are building people for kingdom purposes. We welcome you and thank you for joining us again.
I apologize for this delay. I know the time is about 19 minutes late. However, Atlanta traffic was definitely trafficking as I was trying to get here to give y'all this whole sense of relaxation in your mind today. I was driving and thinking the traffic would do what it does, but here, me, I don't fight the traffic because I know you're supposed to get where you got to go when you're going to get there. So we ain't doing that at all. But welcome back. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving, sharing some times with their families. I'm glad that everybody had a chance to kind of reunite. And then I do want to mention those who it wasn't so okay, right? I know I had a few clients like, I'm sick of it, and I tell them, don't do it. Don't do that. Don't fight through the holidays with your trauma and your grief. In the event that it's something you want to do, ignite yourself to do what you want to do. Don't follow the leader with your grief, because when you're grieving, no one grieves the same in the same moment, even if the grief feels the same way, right? We can always correlate to different type of grief and trauma feelings with one another when you tell someone, I felt like this, or I feel like I was going through that. But you might not go through it when they go through it. So if you don't want to eat ham on the day they serving ham and turkey and you don't want it, don't eat it. Don't put yourself through that. Or just a lot of people who were, last week we did mental health at the boxing gym, and there was some young men in there. It was actually all men. I got to find other things to do. I'll be like hanging out with a bunch of guys all the time. Got to get my life together. But they were talking about how they make a ruckus through the year with their mates. and then have to bring them around during the holidays. And so I always often share, if you think your family gonna pick a side, you can't tell them if you're gonna go back. Now, if it's dangerous and you just having a bad moment and you needed someone to vent to, say that, right? Say, I just want to share. I don't know if I'm ready to break up with this person. I don't know if I'm ready to end the relationship. Can I just share? Because families are not going to forget that. And when you try to bring that person around that you had this falling out with through the year, and then the holidays come around and they side-eyeing her or side-eyeing him, like what they here for, you got to be the middleman to be in the middle of that. So think about that too. Just you got one out the way. You got a few more weeks and then you got to hit Christmas and then New Year's and then go on and take off, right? But the holidays are so tough through grief and trauma. And I was mentioning today that I just wanted to talk about the different things inside of us that we battle with while we're grieving. Because we grieve more things that have not passed away. And we grieve more things inside of us than people have done to us. So when you think about that, when you the things that you battle with yourself, and again, I'm not the pastor, so I need to know the scripture, but battling with principalities and spirits versus flesh and blood, right? Everybody does that every day, all day. What the battle is for you may be the same for someone else, but we all battle with something inside of ourselves that don't allow us to really be ourselves. So most of the trauma that we deal with in our lives is inflicted from the things that we literally battle with about ourselves, and then here comes someone adding to it, right? So we got to figure out, how do we really tackle the things that are inside of us in order to be renewed with who we need to be, right? So I want to challenge you, one, define it. Define it. What is it? What have you been battling with? If we're fair, it's a whole lot of childhood trauma. It's things that people dealt with from the first heartbreak. Could be your mother, your father, your siblings, your first love. What is it? What do you define the masked demon or the masked illusion of your pain inside of you? What is it? Define it, right? So I always like to share. I love to share myself. You know, I battle with rejection. I battle with it bad. And the reason I battle with it is I've always felt and feel like I'm complete enough for anything I come across, I deal with, I tackle, I set myself up for. I feel like I'm strong enough to do it. I feel like I can do it. I feel like I can grow with it. And then when it doesn't add up, or it doesn't measure up, or I don't find me in anything I attach myself to, I feel rejected. And it may not even feel like rejection. But the grace in it is I've learned through this year. My God. I learned through this year that the many of times I thought it was rejection, God showed me it was protection. And I had to revert and figure that out, right? So I challenged myself to face that this year, and I've been able to begin healing properly so that the moment it comes upon me and I feel like I'll be like, let's weigh it out. I'll be talking to myself about myself. Well, let's weigh it out. It's probably not rejection yet, sis. Hold on. It's probably not rejection. Let's see if it's protection, but you won't know until you weigh it out. Don't jump into it. So you got to talk to yourself, right? You got to tell yourself, this ain't anxiety. We ain't doing this. Nope. I'm not sad. I'm not in danger. I'm safe. I'm good. I'm safe. Because if you don't do that, your body goes into fight, right? And you're going to go into that fight mode, which is going to cause the anxiety, heart palpitations, and you sweating, and you just like, oh, wait a minute, how we get here from a thought, right? So let's define it. We want to share. Audience members, if you care to share, we'd love to have it, but I just open it up. Let's dialogue about it. Like, do you understand? Or you may not know how to define it, right? But do you understand what I'm saying with the battles that we fight amongst ourselves that we don't even share with our parents, our loved ones, our children, our siblings? We just hold it to ourselves. And it's literally created the person that we've became. And if we're real about it, we transferred it through DNA. So you'll see it in your kids. And a lot of people will see it in their grandkids because nobody ever swept it from under the rug, right? So I gave one. Rejection was for me. You care to share? Anyone that you think that you may battle with?
Yes, I kind of battle a lot with feeling disrespected. In the sense of wanting to make sure I am respected because I give that respect. So I'm easy to go from 0 to 100 when I start even feeling like I'm being disrespected or something was said disrespectful to me. I automatically go in fight mode because I want you to know you're disrespecting me and I need to cut it off before it goes too far, because then I go into a defense mode, and that's not good for me.
Okay.
So I think my biggest thing is, I remember asking someone, another brother, I was asking, what did he feel was more important in a relationship? Was it love or was it respect? And every man so far, I didn't ask every man. Every man that I asked that question, except for one, said respect.
So that's good, and that's good. But asking you as a man, isn't that what y'all yearn for, despite the gender, whether it's love or not? Y'all get up every day to earn that and want it, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So do you set a standard too high that you feel people don't reach it, and that makes it feel like to you that you're disrespected? Or did you not have the communicative piece in the beginning on what it is that makes you feel disrespected?
Well, I won't say that the bar was set too high. I think that it's a part of who you're dealing with, because some people they came up in a disrespectful home. They came up not knowing what it meant for your father to be respectful to his wife, or vice versa, or just being respectful to your children, or children being respectful to their parents. So I didn't come up in that type of environment. My dad and mother was respectful to each other. Now, I'm sure they had their moments, but us as kids, we didn't see that. And my parents didn't allow us to be disrespectful. As our younger generation now, they're very disrespectful. So the approach is different. Yeah. But for me, I didn't set the bar high. I think that it all depends of how someone came up and the trauma they're under while they're dealing with you can make them disrespectful, and them not seeing a problem with it.
So those are great points. You know, I'd like to piggyback off of it, if I may. What I do know is you have to teach people how to treat you in the beginning so that they know what is tolerable for you before your threshold or your boundary is crossed, right? Not everybody knows what your boundary is, and guess what? They never should. So if a person crosses your boundary and they go from a conversation to disrespect, and you go from 0 to 100, that's too far, right? Here's the killer about it, right? oftentimes they've done it too much and then you exploded. And we have to take ownership of letting people get away with stuff that we should have nipped the bud in on before you got to 100, right? So we give people passes all the time, especially those we love, those we try to see. It never fails. I can tell you it's probably marriage 101. It's probably relationship 101, like not even tie marriage to it. Relationship 101. We care about people that we deal with or we wouldn't deal with them, right? So when we care about them so much, we give passes after passes after passes. But when is enough? So we don't reach that level, right? And if we get to that level where they didn't feel like it was disrespectful, it has nothing to do with their upbringing 100%. It has something to do with it because nobody teaches a person to be disrespectful. It's learned behavior. It takes an adult a moment to step away from what they saw and say, I don't care if they told you it was right. You know, it feel wrong. And if it feel wrong, don't repeat it because you saw it, right? You see a baby use the bathroom on themselves, you just don't go use the bathroom on yourself. You got to learn the difference between the two. Does that make sense? So sometimes our communicative level puts us in a space with whatever relationship. It doesn't have to be intimate. It doesn't have to be, heterosexual. It doesn't have to be LGBT. It doesn't have to be anything. What it is no one communicates enough in the beginning of founding the relationships to share what they care and don't care about so people don't cross the boundary.
So we have someone online that says that they battle with swallowing their pride. Swallowing their pride.
Yeah, interesting enough that when people battle with that, somebody told them, shut up, be quiet, don't say nothing, don't talk, you ain't right, you wrong. And so they began to feel like they had to set this standard as an eagle and stand up tall all the time to be somebody they think people want them to be. Pride, is, we all know, and I know you know firsthand, is just so part of, through life. The devil will. He make you think you got pride, where God doesn't see pride in ways. And so we have to unlearn so much. We can't sit up and think that we are egotistically standard a certain way. We can't think we better than nobody. We can't think that it's our way and nobody else's way. And so swallowing your pride is swallowing your voice. Speak up. There's no reason to swallow it. Just be yourself. And if being yourself is having a difficult conversation, I challenge you to have the difficult conversation.
And I don't want to speak for this person who made this comment, but sometimes swallowing your pride means hesitant to ask for help.
That's another way to see it. Yep, yeah. Absolutely. That's a great way to see it. And that's an even bigger thing because the rejection that I mentioned, right, makes you feel like that mountain full of no's is getting too high. I don't know if I'm ever going to get the yes, so I'm going to do it myself.
You're going to do it yourself. And so usually that happens when there's a precedence that has been set. In other words, someone has rejected you in the past, or someone has told you they're not going to help you after you've asked. Mm-hmm. So now you're afraid to go that extra mile, or you're afraid to put, as we say, put yourself out there. Yeah. Again.
Absolutely.
Because you're fearful of being told no, or as you just stated, being rejected again.
Absolutely. And see, the no's don't just come from individuals, right? Mm-hmm. The no's are from the credit card application, the increase at the promotion at the job, just the things that made me say, if I can do this, I can step in a different direction to help do this, and then I can get myself in a better relationship with myself, my finances, then I can help my children, and then I can help this. Like, if there's things I can do if I got that yes. So the rejection is so much bigger than, it feels like rejection, and we got to switch our mindset to it's just not time.
Someone piggybacked on what Minister David said. said that they have a tendency to go from 0 to 100 in the flash, in the blink of an eye. And you said something earlier that kind of points to that. It's like it comes from precedences that have been said in the past that triggers you.
Absolutely.
And that's basically what Minister David was talking about when he mentioned a trigger of being disrespected. And that kind of sends him over the top. And I can attest to what he's talking about, because when you grow up and you're the youngest, you have a tendency to feel and see and experience that disrespect from time to time. And it comes in close quarters from in your own home a lot of times. And then it carries over into other areas of your life. So I feel what Minister D. David is talking about when it comes to that. But that person just said that same thing that she piggybacked on what he was elaborating on earlier.
Well, you picked up a good point, and just to both of you all's point, I think, understanding that you run your own homes, right? And so when you allow people to come in your home, you're always going to be the leader of your homes. However, you expect the people who you give a lot of your everything to not be the person or people in the immediate home to take you there.
Right.
But what you didn't do was remember they're just as openly to do it as the last home. If it was your parents' home or if it was the last relationship. See, the problem becomes where the common denominator becomes you. And if you go to 100, you just didn't explain well enough what you don't want to tolerate. You may have explained it, but not well enough for a person to see see it's a thing, and it's a facial expression a person makes that someone who loves you or has paid attention to you enough to know they shifting. They about to shift. The eyebrows might go up, the nose might get to. If they pay attention to you enough and they see when your shift is coming, right? That should make them be like, let's pause for a second.
And so I think that's multifaceted, because especially on the front end, Minister David, when you meet somebody on the front end, it's like you used a phrase that said, teach people how to treat you.
Absolutely.
Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them.
Absolutely.
So I think those two kind of marry. They kind of coalesce together.
They absolutely do.
You teach them how to treat you because they're showing you who they are by their behavior and their treatment of you. So boundaries, as you stated earlier, Dr. Cynthia, have to be established on the front end.
On the front end.
And when those boundaries are established, then they have to be respected,
Yeah,
which means they got to be enforced.
Absolutely. So now knowing that, right, because you both shared, could you have had more conversation?
Right.
Right?
Right.
And then knowing that, it's still not too late. Right? So I want everybody to start getting into understanding that evolving for people is every day. It's like the rose. If you really could have a perfect rose from the rose store, if you just cut the ends and tighten the water, it's a lot of work to do. But if you cut the ends, put a little food in it and fresh water every day, you can have them same roses for about a week or two. When you do nothing to them, they'll just sit there and just die off. So you got to keep cutting away the stuff that pains you, because you want the love to grow, right? And if you want the love to grow, you got to cut away the stuff that don't make it grow.
Right.
And that means difficult conversations. Not because I don't want to be disrespected, but because I love you.
And so if I could say this, this was just having a moment of revisionist history. Here was a past struggle of mine, and sometimes I still battle with it now. I think it kind of, well, first of all, I've been in leadership since I was 19.
Okay.
Leading young men in business, and then pastoring my first church, which was this church, at 32.
Okay. So
you're dealing with people all the time. And so the thing that I would battle with was being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Wanting everybody to be okay with everything. And that kind of couples with, I guess, a desire to want to be liked. Now, right.
Your childhood.
Your childhood. There you
Absolutely.
go. And it all is kind of marrying together. We're making like a little emotional soup here, because then it goes back to being disrespected, and then it goes back to, you know, trying to set the boundaries. But what I've evolved into is I'm not going to have a phrase or a moment where I say, I don't care what people think. I don't have that luxury as a pastor and as a leader and as a person in the community.
Absolutely.
But by the same token, what I battle with is having to have what you said earlier, tough conversations with people about their behavior and about why they didn't get the answer from me that they desired, or about why I'm having to enforce this or explain this in the way that I'm in. But that was my past struggle, and I know a lot of people who struggle from that, and it pilfers over from their friendships to their families, to their parenting, to how they lead if they're leaders. And I think that's something that can be addressed.
Absolutely. And see, you made some really good points, but I think it's bigger than talking to them about something after something's transpired. It's more defining who you are so people know how to understand you when there's a shift in the relationship, right? No one comes fully ready. Well, one thing everyone has in common when they build relationships is, one, everybody wants to be respected.
Right.
Period. Two, there's not a person that gets up every day that doesn't yearn and look for love. Not a person, not a human. From a dog to a human, everybody get up every day with the intent to somebody to put a smile on their face by some sense of gesture. Right. A hug, a handshake, whatever. You see somebody you ain't seen, the first thing is, what's up, man? How you doing, girl? You know, hey, girl. Everybody yearns for it because it feels good. So why it feels like this because of that is because it's the same feeling. It didn't differentiate because the people changed. You felt it as a child. You felt it as a young person. You felt it as an adult. And then you can define all the different people that made you feel that way. See, the problem is you didn't define if you want to stop feeling that way or not. So you go through 4 or 5 people who gave you the same feeling, and you at 100 when the next person did it, because you're really trying to go off on the first person that did it. You never knew how to go back and correct that.
Right.
So your feeling is the same, and the reason you get into it with the next person that does it is because you forgot to tell them, hey, listen, I'm this kind of person, right? If you talk to me like this, it's going to upset me. So I need us to have a conversation like this. And then you have to say something to that person in the beginning, and it's a simple thing that says this. You think we could handle that? You think we could handle that? So you're not saying this is what you got to do for me to be okay, right? You're not saying this is how you got to treat me. You give everybody a choice. They're either going to treat you the way you deserve and want to be treated, or they ain't. Here's the thing is, you got to remember you're on the other side of it. So you got to do the same thing you asking somebody to do to and for you. So the reciprocation of it is who's authentic and who ain't. And a lot of people really grow up being inauthentic because they keep trying to just be better than who the last person said they were. And they forget that that person don't define them, even if you hurt you. Even if she hurt you, even if he hurt you, the last failed relationship does not define the new one unless you want to keep having failed relationships. And so disrespect is heavy when it comes to men. Pride, I think that's gender-based. Disrespect will be gender-based. I know one thing a lot of people forget to deal with and tackle in relationships, and that's communication. No one's really taught that. They're only taught how to communicate based on it. The average person is ready to jump in like the jump rope in the conversation. They're not listening to retain. They listening to respond. So they almost miss everything somebody told them that could have been the trigger. If you just heard that person, you was gonna know. They ain't purposely trying to disrespect you. They ain't been taught how to talk to you. And there's a difference. And then you got to deal with, a person who comes from a certain stature and background in life, right? How your mama and daddy moved, how their mama and daddy moved, and then y'all got the two of y'all. So you got two over here, two over there, and then y'all two. If you look, you got 6 different people, 6 different DNAs, 6 different ways of communicating. Who says any of it is right? Who says any of it is wrong? So this is why I challenge when you start new homes with people, build your own communication level. You don't got to bring everything from where you came from into your house. You ain't got to bring everything they came from into your house. Start your own thing. So you can know, hey, red Kool-Aid disrespectful. I don't care what you say. I ain't drinking that. We drink purple around here, and that's what it is, right? So you bring red Kool-Aid in, you must want to fight because we don't do it, right? Well, I like red Kool-Aid. Oh, man. How can I barter, right? Now it's like I can't think about myself in situations when I'm building and bonding in new relationships. It's got to be some take and some give. So what you grew up with, we don't eat tuna fish. Oh, my God, I love tuna fish. You can't say because you don't eat it, it can't go in the house. You eat chicken salad that day then or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got to be some give and take. And the problem lies, people don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to give and take. So they battle with principalities that have created the people that they are, that people grow up not to like. They grow up and not to like them. And you find so many people who don't like that part about it, and guess what they end up being? By themselves. It's too hard to try to change me after a certain age. So it's like, you don't want to deal with it? I begin to think of ways, or people begin to think of ways. I want y'all to think it's me. People begin to think of ways on how to deal with people when it's pertinently necessary. Because you can start, grabbing the Longhorn special, the lunch special, cool by yourself. It's a hot $11. $22 if I take somebody else. I don't want to take nobody else. I'm going to take this Longhorn special for $11 and eat me a salad and a baked potato, and I'm good, right? Can I get comfortable eating alone? When you learn to love yourself. But you know why a lot of people settle for most of the things they go through? Nobody likes being alone. So they rather argue and be disrespected and have to put their pride away and have to swallow it and let people run over them and let people do stuff to them that keeps diminishing until they're completely empty. And then they expect them same people to fill them up. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. Define yourself. Define yourself.
You referenced the scripture earlier. That scripture is Ephesians 6 and verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. I think that when it comes to mental health and when it comes to relational stability, you have to understand that a lot of times you're not dealing, well, not a lot of times, most of the time, you're not dealing with that person. You're dealing with the spirit that's been assigned to you through that person.
Absolutely.
And their job is to disturb you. That's their job. That's their assignment when it comes to you, is to totally disturb your peace, to stop or cause you to be deterred from your assignment.
Right.
And so I think that that's some of the things that we get conflicted with when we're dealing with people as Christians. And everybody that's on this live tonight may not be a believer. I don't want to just automatically assume that. But as Christians, that's the thing that we kind of confuse, is we become so entangled with the person without stepping back and saying, you know what, wait a minute. I'm not dealing with them. I'm dealing with something deeper than them. Mm-hmm. And if you're a believer and you're on this live tonight, I would implore you to take a moment and pray and ask for discernment when you're in a situation that is perpetuating, because that's how the enemy works. He's consistent, and he will consistently try to throw you off base and off course, especially when he knows you have triggers.
That's your job. That's his job. And I think what happens is, let's just be clear and honest in a sense. Like, I always want to be authentic in this way. I'm very guilty of it. I am so guilty of it. There are some people in my life that are no longer in my life, but when they came in my life and while they were in my life, I thought God sent them. And I realized he didn't. And so who I met was not who I left. And once I realized that, like...
Say that one more time.
Who I met was not who I left.
That's profound. That's powerful. That's why I asked you to say it again, because there is a contrast that we often ignore. And if we would just see that, it'll help. It may not help you in that relationship, but it'll help you going forward.
Absolutely.
That was just profound. Who you met was not who you left.
Absolutely.
Because it was revealed over the course of the relationship who they were and why they were assigned to you. Okay, I'm sorry.
Or who they were and why you were assigned to them.
Yeah, that too. You're
right?
You're right.
So it's always twofold.
Right.
Right? Nobody came with an assignment for one and not to the other. Right? But if we all are real about it, we all came with an opportunity to heal the things and let that relationship be the last one. Right? But then that takes a lot of healing and self-surfing that people don't want to do. That's hard. I don't want to keep it real. That's hard.
So, Dr. Williams, why do you think people stay in those type of relationships so long?
Because then I got to start over, right? If I leave the relationship that I'm in, the first thing I'm going to think about is where I'm about to find the next person. I got to meet their family. I got to see if I like them. You know, we go deep with it. Do they snore? What clothes they wear? Do they do this? Do they do that? We begin to justify all the reasons to stay where we ain't happy. And then we'll make it even harder and justify that we might as well stay because we can't never be happy. That's a lie of the devil. Hey, you know, of all people, God ain't finna put nobody in no situation for them to be miserable. It's just not how he moves. We do it to ourselves. So people stay because it's easier. It's the biggest cop-out to yourself, about yourself. If I start over, you know what it takes when you first meet a person. It's expensive. You got to date them. You got to take them out. You got to buy gifts, trying to get them, trying to wean them in. And then you realize if you come genuine and spend more time communicating, that was the biggest gifts. You don't got to date them. Sit down and have a park date. Right? I tell people all the time, when you meet these new people, they say, well, I'm about to date again. Cool. Ask a bunch of questions. Shower or bath? All right? Pink or blue? Right? French fries or onion rings? I don't care what it is. Ask the questions. So if you don't, right? Crazy fun fact. I remember picking a restaurant to go eat at. And I'm like, ooh, I got reservations. We going to eat. Oh, and I was just so ready to just be the sexiest little something for this date. That joker said, I don't eat meat. I didn't ask. This was thinking about myself. Oh my God. So it started dawning on me that that was a while ago enough for me to say, hey, are there things you don't eat and that you're allergic to? Out the gate. That taught me. It wasn't that I didn't know it before. I just was thinking, hey, who don't eat this? Right? Everybody eats this. So then I realized, I remember asking somebody like, oh, I can't eat that. I'm allergic to it. I'm like, oh, we don't need to go to that restaurant. Because what if they cook on this and mixing it? You know what I'm saying? So all of my minds, I thought about that. But one of the biggest things I said is, I just got to ask the questions and then I can make a decision. And we don't do enough asking. We just go into assuming that our ways should be enough for people involved. And you got to be more selfless. Not even that you're selfish. You got to be more selfless when you're dealing with people. Because as a leader, you want to lead. You don't want to necessarily be followed unless you know for a fact you're leading. So in order to be lead, you got to know what you lead. You got to ask people what they need, what you need. Some people come in relationships ready to get over the last relationship and forget to talk about how it even ended. They just want to get out of it so bad. Why did your last relationship end? Instead of starting off this way, this is a good word right here, and I didn't even know that this would pop in. The Holy Spirit. Instead of starting off this way and say, I forgot to heal a little bit before I met the last person. So I'm going to heal, and then when I meet the next person, I could be ready, but I don't know. I ain't going to know until I get into the relationship. I forgot to heal a little bit. So what we do, because nobody wants to be by themselves, they jump into stuff without the perfect timing of healing, and they'll see the cycle, but they're sitting on pins and needles, right? Here's the pins and here's the needles. Everything the last person said they did, they trying not to do it. I can't let them be right. They can't be right. I can't do what they said I did. They gonna be right. I got to prove to people that it wasn't me. That ain't me. That I didn't do that. That ain't what they said. That they didn't really know me. That ain't me. No, that's you. That's you. You just forgot to heal. And it's okay that it was you. But you forgot to heal so that the next time it definitely won't be you. So you got to take that time. And if you sit back, you can ask them same men you asked about love and respect, how much time they spent between their relationships. And then they're going to realize, well, duh. No one knows how to respect you. Why? You don't know how to respect you. So how am I supposed to know how to respect you? You let it fly, so I let it fly. It was cute in the beginning. It's like the 2-year-old that could cuss the whole house out. When they think it's funny, the 2-year-old at 4 are going to be what? Master cusser. Because it was cute. It's not cute. It ain't cute to let somebody disrespect you and then close your eyes with them, bro. No, it's not cute. You got to tell a person this. If I don't trust you with my eyes open to care for me and respect me and ground me and build me and empower me, I bet not dare close my eyes next to you and call myself going to sleep. Because the person you go to sleep with that you don't trust ain't the fool. You become the fool. So you got to remember those things. Those are things that we don't necessarily get into things and feel like, who we are. There's a few things. We either set the standard really high or we don't define what it is we need people to reach. That makes sense?
Absolute sense.
So I know that we came off a little late, and I just want to tell everybody, listen, we can always still look at the comments, and we can always still respond via inbox, and definitely, if you have anything you want to talk about, I don't want anyone to suffer through the rest of these holidays, and I want you to end your year out healing properly for yourself. So I'm telling people right now today, I'm hearing it, you're hearing out my voice, you're hearing it, or I'm up here on this platform. They just, yeah. I need you to know this, like, all jokes aside. Don't take all of this into next year. Free yourself. Free yourself. Know that you are better healed than unhealed. So the moment that you keep defining yourself based on other people, the longer you will be who they think you are. Have a good night.